So welcome back to the second symposium, The Science of Transfer Factor. And I am so glad you're with us still. You've stuck around and you're joining us again. In the next little bit, we're going to take a deep dive into transfer factor. So Symposium 2 is also divided into 2 different parts. First, we'll review most of the recent studies on transfer factor, including work on immune cells and comparisons to other immune system products. Then we'll highlight how transfer factor differs from other supplements, particularly its ability to balance and to modulate the immune system, with clinical evidence showing activation in just 2 hours. So Life has continued the legacy of transfer factor research from its important beginnings over 70 years ago, and these recent studies have tested transfer factor on actual immune cells. The key question is, does transfer factor make a measurable difference on immune cells? And the answer, as we'll see, is of course yes. Transfer factor not only activates immune cells, but also improves the way they recognize and the way they deal with health threats. This is what makes it unique compared to other standard supplements on the marketplace. But before we dive into the research of transfer factor, let's first understand how they work in our body.
Life transfer factor is clinically proven to activate the immune system within 2 hours. Transfer factors aren't vitamins, minerals, or herbs. They are molecules that transfer immune memory and knowledge from one cell to another. They teach your immune system to recognize, respond to, and remember potential threats. Life transfer factors provide vital information and education to your immune system. Let's follow the path of transfer factors through the body as they raise your immune IQ. First, the capsule travels down your esophagus to the stomach. There, it dissolves, and the individual transfer factor molecules are released. The transfer factor molecules enter the intestines, where they encounter groups of immune cells called Peyer's patches. Peyer's patches are concentrated centers of immune cells, and this is where Life transfer factor begins educating your immune system. They support many different kinds of immune cells, such as natural killer cells, T cells, B cells, macrophages, and more. When the transfer factors encounter an uneducated immune cell, they enter and educate that cell so it can better recognize, respond to, and remember health threats. From there, the newly educated cell creates more transfer factors to place on its surface. As educated immune cells come into contact with uneducated immune cells, they pass their immune system knowledge to those cells. The education spreads cell to cell until it reaches a lymph node, a concentrated source of immune system cells. Here, the educated cells work quickly to transfer their immune system knowledge, and soon all the cells in the lymph node have transfer factors to pass to the rest of the immune cells in your body. This transfer of immune knowledge spreads throughout the body until your entire immune system is fortified by transfer factors, making for a smarter and more vigilant immune system. Try Life transfer factor products today to raise your immune IQ.
So one of the best ways to understand transfer factor is to see how immune cells respond in its presence. In these studies, natural killer cells were exposed to a health threat in 2 groups, one with transfer factor and one without. We then measured their activity, specifically natural killer cells, which we may remember from our first symposium are the frontline defenders of our immune system. This is like a security drill. One group of watch guards gets trained instructions ahead of time, and the other group doesn't get trained. Which group do you think responds faster and more effectively? The ones with training, right? That's what transfer factor provides, training instructions for immune cells. Now here you can see the actual data from this natural killer cell study. Utilizing advanced techniques like flow cytometry allows us to actually count the immune cells and their corresponding health threats. Each dot represents a cell. The red dots are natural killer cells, and the green dots represent our health threats. And the question is simple: can transfer factor help immune cells recognize and respond to those threats more effectively? At baseline, without any support, the threats overwhelm the system. But after 48 hours with transfer factor, the number of health threats drops dramatically. Transfer factor helps natural killer cells activate faster, and it helps them clear out those harmful invaders much more effectively. So what's the significance of this? It means that your body can respond to these new threats before they have time to spread. This slide shows the same story in a slightly different way. Over time, the number of damaging cells decreases significantly when transfer factor is present. Without transfer factor, the immune system is sluggish, slow. But with transfer factor, the system is much sharper, much quicker, and much more efficient. These findings aren't just internal marketing claims. They've been published in peer-reviewed journal, adding that extra layer of credibility. Independent researchers have validated that these results show transfer factor consistently improves immune recognition and activity. For us, that's a sign of credibility and scientific rigor. Now let's dive into one of the most practical questions. How does transfer factor compare to other immune system products already on the market? In this study, scientists again tested natural killer cell activity with this now scientifically validated method. They compared transfer factor to several competitor products labeled here as competitors A through D. Take a look at the results on the slide. Transfer factor is at the top, showing the strongest reduction in health threats. Each competitor falls short of that, sometimes very significantly. So what does all this mean? It means that not all immune products are created equal. Many supplements promise to boost your immune system, but very few have the data to show this kind of measurable, this kind of superior effect. And here's why this matters. For customers or affiliates, it gives confidence that you're choosing something that is proven, not just another generic immune supplement. For healthcare professionals, it shows peer-reviewed evidence that transfer factor is different, with more robust activity than its competitors. On this slide, we're looking at something a little interesting. How transfer factor compares to other products made from similar sources. Specifically, this study compared three things. Transfer factor, a colostrum-only product, like many found in the marketplace. A blood-derived transfer factor, similar to what Dr. Sherwood Lawrence discovered over 80 years ago. Now, you might expect that all of these would perform the same, right? After all, colostrum and blood are both natural sources of immune information. But what we see here is that 4-life transfer factor significantly outperforms both of them. Think of it like this. Colostrum-only products are like reading one textbook. Blood-derived products are like reading another textbook. But transfer factor is like reading a whole library of immune knowledge, more diverse, more comprehensive, more effective. This is important for 2 reasons. First, it shows that not all colostrum products are equal. Just because something comes from colostrum doesn't mean it's delivering the same immune benefits as 4-life transfer factor. Second, it bridges the science of transfer factor discovered over 70 years ago to modern, state-of-the-art immune system health. Now let's review our final natural killer cell study on transfer factor. This study looks at one of the most important changes that occurs in our body, the gradual weakening of our immune system as we age. Scientists call this immunosenescence, which simply means that over time, our immune cells don't respond as quickly. They don't recognize the threats as well, and they don't recover as efficiently as they did when we were younger. And here's the reality. Older immune cells often miss the early signs of health threats. They may take longer to mount a defense, and sometimes they overreact, creating unnecessary bodily stress. Now here's the exciting part. This study shows that 4-life transfer factor can rejuvenate older immune cells. In this experiment, natural killer cells were studied from young participants and from old participants alike. Each set was treated with and without transfer factor. The uniqueness of this experiment was the starting point of the older immune cells, which is significantly lower than the starting point of the younger immune cells. Transfer factor was able to activate both the young and old sets of immune cells to what we call a steady state level. Regardless of where they started, they ended in the same. In other words, it helped these old and tired immune cells act more young, more active. So let me give you an analogy. Think about a computer or a mobile phone from 10 years ago. It still works, but it's slow, it forgets things, and it struggles with new programs. What transfer factor does is like giving that old computer or phone a software update. Suddenly it can recognize new files, it can respond faster, and it can perform more like it did when it was brand new. That's what's happening here. Transfer factor helps update older immune cells so they remember threats, they recognize invaders, and they respond in a more youthful way. This research has powerful implications for healthy aging and long-term immune resilience. Now let's look at another study, this time with Transfer Factor Plus, which is the more advanced version of the trifactor formula. This slide summarizes a preclinical study that measured 3 important aspects of immune function. Macrophage activity. These are your immune system's cleanup crew. They eat up these pathogens and these dead cells, helping the tissues become clear and healthy. Cytokine release. These are those chemical messengers that tell the other immune cells when to move and when to get into action. IgG response. This one is immune memory. This is your immune system's ability to remember past threats and respond much, much faster the next time. So, what did this study show? Compared to the untreated cells, Transfer Factor Plus significantly improved all three functions. Macrophages became more active in engulfing those harmful cells. Cytokine signaling improved, which means the immune system is communicating much more efficiently. And immune memory was much, much stronger. So the system is better prepared for future health threats. And finally, I'd like to spend these last minutes differentiating transfer factor from other immune products out on the marketplace. And it really comes down to one simple truth. Most immune system products only push the system in one direction, and that's boosting. And oftentimes, with many immune products, it's a process that's not always effective. Transfer factor stands out because it can both boost rapidly and it can calm down an immune system as needed, providing that true immune balance. As we talk about true immune balance, we are now shifting from natural killer cells to another critical part of the immune system, and that is T cells. T cells, again, from our earlier symposia, are like the generals of the immune army. They don't usually do the fighting themselves, but they do give the commands, telling other immune cells when to attack, when to retreat, and how strong should that response be. In this study, scientists used a stimulant called PHA. Now, PHA is a foreign molecule. It's not a real threat, but it's designed to make T cells go into overdrive. Now, normally when T cells see PHA, they get hyperactive and they're creating this exaggerated response. Now, think about what happens when the immune system gets too revved up. It can lead to attacking itself or simply being overactive. In other words, an overactive immune system can be just as harmful as a weak one. So here's where transfer factor comes in. When transfer factor was introduced alongside PHA, the T cells didn't overreact. Rather, they downregulated to a near resting state. Their response was balanced, strong enough to recognize the stimulant, but not so strong that it caused unnecessary damage. So what's the takeaway? Transfer factor helps the immune system tell the difference between a real threat and a false alarm. It helps prevent overaction. This illustrates an important point that I mentioned earlier. Immune health is not simply about boosting. Transfer factor is unique because it helps the immune system stay in balance, active when needed, when overactive. Again, these results aren't just our claims, our company's claims. Like the other transfer factor research, they've been published in peer-reviewed journals, meaning independent scientists have reviewed these methods and the data and confirmed that these findings hold up. I should also point out that this scientific credibility is very rare in the nutritional supplement world. And now we come to one of the most exciting parts of science, the clinical studies on transfer factor, trifactor formula. Now, this particular study was designed as a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trial, which is the gold standard in clinical research. This means that neither the participants or the researchers knew who was receiving transfer factor and who was receiving placebo. And this helps ensure that the results are real, that they're not influenced by any sort of bias. So here's what they did. Participants were given a single dose of 600 milligrams of 4-Life transfer factor trifactor formula. The researchers then measured immune activity at 4 different time points. Baseline, 1 hour, 2 hour, 24 hours after that one dose. Now the results were remarkable. Within just 2 hours, measurable changes were seen in immune function. Natural killer T cells became more active. Beneficial cytokines like interferon increased, and the overall immune response was clearly stronger than placebo. And this is a very important distinction because, again, most nutritional supplements like vitamin C, elderberry, echinacea, they're thought to support immunity, but rarely do they show this rapid and measurable effects in a clinical setting. But transfer factor does. Think of it, again, like this previous analogy of an army. Your immune system is your body's army. Transfer factor is holding training drills in the morning of a surprise attack. Within 2 hours, the soldiers are awake, they are geared up, and they are ready for action. Now let me ask you, how many of you would have expected a supplement to have a measurable effect that quickly, in just 2 hours? That's why this study is so powerful. It doesn't just show that transfer factor works, it shows that transfer factor works fast. And in today's world, where we encounter challenges daily, speed and balance make all the difference. Again, this work was independently reviewed by researchers and published in a prestigious journal. Now let's talk about the importance of taking transfer factor daily. In the clinical study we just discussed, researchers measured immune activity at several time points after a single dose of transfer factor. And here's what they found. By 2 hours, immune activation was significantly increased. After 2 hours, activation remained noticeable, but out to 24 hours. But by then, the effect was already beginning to taper off. After 24 hours, immune activation gradually returned closer to what we call baseline. So what does that tell us? It means that transfer factor is powerful and fast acting, but like food, like exercise, its benefits are best when it's part of a daily routine. Think of it like charging your phone battery. A single charge gives you power, but if you don't plug it in every day, your phone runs out of energy. Transfer factor is like that daily charge for your immune system, keeping it ready to respond when you need it the most. This is especially important during times of need, like during the winter months, when you're traveling or when your stress levels are really, really high. So the message is simple. Daily habits create daily protection. Just like exercise or healthy eating, consistency is what your immune system needs to be at its best. And transfer factor, of course, isn't just a supplement you take once in a while. The daily investment in your body's defenses so you're ready for whatever life throws at you. So up to now, we've been looking mostly at immune system activity. Natural killer cells, T cells, cytokine signaling, daily dose effects. But the story doesn't end there. Transfer factor also supports your health in another critical way by improving antioxidant capacity. So what does that mean? Every day our cells are exposed to what we call oxidative stress. From pollution, from poor diet, from stress, even from normal metabolism. And so over time, this oxidative damage stresses cells, it accelerates aging, and it contributes to lifelong challenges. In this study, scientists compared 4-Life Transfer Factor TF Boost with a competitor immune product already out on the marketplace. They measured how much antioxidant protection each product delivered. To bring this all together, let's take a moment to watch this video of Transfer Factor Immune Boost in action.
Would you like to know why 4-Life Transfer Factor Immune Boost is better than our competitors? Here, I have poured 40 milliliters of iodine into 2 identical flasks. I have 10 milliliters of Transfer Factor Immune Boost and 10 milliliters of our competitor's product. First, let's use our competitor's product. Next, let's use our product, 4-Life Transfer Factor Immune Boost. This simple visual demonstration shows how powerful the antioxidants in Transfer Factor Immune Boost are compared to our competitors. Now, there are many forms of vitamin C, but we chose the 4 most effective ones: ascorbic acid, ascorbylpalmitate, araboric acid, and ascorbitic. Now remember, 4-Life Transfer Factor Immune Boost contains 1,000 milligrams of transfer factor, which is even more than the 600 milligram daily dose, which has been proven to activate our immune system within 2 hours. And that's why our product is better than our competitors.
The results are clear. Transfer factor shows greater antioxidant capacity than the competitor product. So why is this important? Because it means that transfer factor is not only helping your immune system fight off those health threats in just 2 hours, it's also helping to protect your cells from the wear and tear of daily life. As we close this symposium, it's important to emphasize that all of the science isn't just SporeLife's internal data. It's actually been published, it's been reviewed, it's been recognized by the broader scientific community. Here are a few highlights. Over 25 peer-reviewed articles on 4-Life Transfer Factor and related products have been published by independent scientists. These studies appear in reputable journals, and they cover a wide range of immune system functions, from natural killer cells to T cells, cytokines, and macrophages. And perhaps most importantly, transfer factor is cited in the physician's desk reference, a trusted guide used by doctors and healthcare professionals for decades. This level of research and recognition is very rare in the nutritional supplement industry. It sets transfer factor apart from most of the scientifically validated immune products in the world. So when you share transfer factor with others, you're not just sharing another wellness supplement. You're sharing a product that has a solid foundation in science. It has credibility in medicine, and it has proof of effectiveness in real-world studies. So for those of you who are interested in diving deeper, the research is publicly available on Forbes' webpage, which you can access through this QR code. Now let's take a moment to summarize the key takeaways of Symposium 2. First, we looked at transfer factor is more effective at combating health threats than other immune system products. Unlike many supplements, we simply stimulate the immune system in one direction. Transfer factor works in a more intelligent and a more adaptive way. Second, we discussed how transfer factor actually rejuvenates old immune cells, helping them to act young and vibrant again. This means your immune system doesn't just get a temporary push, it gets revitalized to its very core. And what really makes transfer factor stand out is its ability to do two things at once. It can boost the immune system rapidly when we need stronger defenses, but it can also calm down the immune response when it starts to become overactive. This dual action provides true immune balance, something that is critically important for long-term health. And important, the science supports it. Transfer factor is clinically proven to activate the immune system within just 2 hours, a remarkably fast response time that shows its immediate effectiveness. And finally, we emphasize that transfer factor is designed for daily use. It's not just the emergencies or the occasional support, it's a consistent way to strengthen and balance your body's defenses day after day after day. So in summary, Symposium 2 reinforced that transfer factor is not only unique, but it's also one of the most powerful, scientifically validated ways that we can support immune health today. But here's the part I'm most excited to share with you today. You should get your phones out. It's cutting edge, it's inclusive. For the very first time in 4 Life history, we are unveiling a brand new innovation. Plant-based transfer factor. Yes, you heard it right. The same groundbreaking immune science that has set us apart for decades, now in a 100% plant-based formula. Yeah. This means that more people around the world can experience the benefits of transfer factor in a way that aligns with their lifestyle, their values, and their choices. It's cutting edge, it's inclusive, and it represents the greatest discovery in 70 years of transfer factor research. So to learn more about this exciting announcement, let's review the story that made it possible. The journey of plant-based transfer factor began with an enormous exploration of nature's resources. In fact, scientists investigated tens of thousands of plants from all around the world, searching for that one that could demonstrate the unique immune modulating abilities that we see in transfer factor. Now, this was no small undertaking. It required years of screening, of testing, and narrowing down all of those possibilities. And from there, hundreds of plants were tested in depth for transfer factor-like immune activity. And this testing was conducted by a highly respected Korean-owned lab in the United States. Their focus was identifying plant compounds that could mimic immune-enhancing, immune-balancing properties that make transfer factor so unique. And after years of research, the breakthrough finally came. Scientists discovered transfer factor peptides in the seeds of Brassica vapus. This was a historic moment, the first time that transfer factor activity had been identified in a plant source. So what does this mean? It means that the same science-backed immune support that has been changing lives for decades can now be offered in a 100% plant-based formula. Now, for those who prefer plant-derived solutions, whether for personal, cultural, or lifestyle reasons, this opens the door to experiencing the benefits of transfer factor without compromise. This discovery reaffirms something central to our mission at 4 Life. We are not just a company that follows trends. We are pioneers leading the way in immune system innovation. And by investing in this research, by testing tens of thousands of natural resources, and by refusing to stop until light discovery was made, we've opened an entirely new chapter in immune system health. So when you hear about plant-based transfer factor, know that it's not just another product launch. It's the result of global research, of rigorous science, and a groundbreaking discovery. And it's going to allow more people than ever before to take part in the transfer factor story. Well, now that we've introduced plant-based transfer factor, let's talk about what makes it so remarkable. First, the science shows that plant-based transfer factor activates immune markers in a way that's biosimilar to animal-based transfer factor. In other words, even though it comes from a plant source, it behaves in our bodies much like the transfer factor that you've come to know and love. And this is critical because it validates that the immune system receives the same education and the same support no matter the source. But the discovery, it goes even deeper. Researchers found something extraordinary, an evolutionary link between plant-based and animal-based transfer factor peptides. This means that across species, even between plants and animals, the structure of these peptides carries the same immune modulating signals. It's as if nature itself encoded this shared language of immunity, connecting us all at the most fundamental biological level. This discovery is more than just a new product. It's a breakthrough in understanding how the immune system can be supported from multiple sources in nature. It gives us proof that the transfer factor story is not limited to animals, but is woven into the very fabric of life itself. So when you talk about plant-based transfer factor, you're not just talking about a plant-based alternative. You're talking about a scientific milestone. The moment we uncovered a universal immune connection between plants and animals and humans. And that's what makes this discovery so exciting. It's not only about innovation, it's about expanding the legacy of transfer factor into a whole new era. So as we've just seen, the discovery of plant-based transfer factor is more than just innovation. It's a breakthrough that connects the immune power of plants with the immune intelligence of animals and humans. It's a story of science, nature, and evolution all coming together. But here's the exciting part. This isn't just research that stays in the lab. The world is already beginning to talk about it. In fact, we had the opportunity to share this groundbreaking discovery with a wider audience on a program called Fresh Living, a very popular lifestyle program. So let's take a look at how the story is being shared, not just with the scientific community, but with everyday people who are passionate about their health and their wellness.
The following segment is sponsored by For Life. All right, everybody, there's a groundbreaking discovery in immune support. For Life is changing the game with the first ever plant-based transfer factors. Dr. Bulmer is here to tell us all about it, explain it. Welcome to the show. So let's start with that, Dr. Bulmer. What is transfer factor? Where historically has it come from?
Yeah, so transfer factors are small bioactive peptides.
Okay.
They are made by our immune system. They're there to help our immune system as we encounter health threats from day to day. And they were discovered in the 1940s by an immunologist named Dr. Sherwood Lawrence. And what he found is that if someone was exposed to an illness, that they would develop these transfer factors that would help support that person to fight against that illness, and that could be transferred from one person to another, so the other person would be protected from that illness.
Really?
And so
more connected than we even realized.
Yeah, exactly. And so this was 80 years worth of research. In the 80s, it happened to the discovery in colostrum. So we went from a blood-based therapy into colostrum. Colostrum, of course, is mother's first milk to impart
It's the best stuff for the baby. Yeah.
immune benefits to baby. And so it makes sense that it would be there. And we found that we utilized all of that research and leverage it into an ingredient in a product that we found in 4Life called transfer factor.
Love it and love that it's natural. Let's talk about the discovery of the plant-based transfer factor. Tell us about the exciting process and development for this science.
Yeah, and it really goes back to the beginning of the company. We've spent many, many years developing the research, the science, clinical studies on transfer factor, and we leveraged that to ask this question, is transfer factor in other sources? So for instance, is in plants.
Yeah.
So up to a few years ago, it was only found in mammals.
And in the plant, where is it exactly found?
Yeah, that's a great question, because as we interrogated all the different plants, and there's 500,000 different plant species around the world, we had to find a lab who could do the testing, but also had access to these different plant species. And so we found that lab, had tens of thousands of different plants, and we were able to discover transfer factors in plants.
Gotcha. Now, 4Life has got this in development. What's the future of this product and this development that you're working on?
Yeah, the future is really exciting because it opens up this whole new world. Of course, everybody is interested in plant-based diets. Plant-based is very, very important right now, and we can leverage all the research that we've done over the years to now create this wonderful, great product that is a plant-based transfer factor.
Well, garbage in, garbage out, when you put the natural in, you get that natural result.
Exactly.
The body is amazing to heal itself, and you've got great products and services. Where can we go for more information?
Yeah, so probably the easiest place to go is 4life.com. That's where you can see all of the different products, and you can sign up as what we call a preferred customer and get a good discount on the products. So there's many ways to get transfer factor products.
You're the smartest person in the room. You're in the wrong room with Dr. I'm in the right room. Thank you so much. Chief Scientific Officer of 4Life. Appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I hope that you're as excited as we are about plant-based transfer factor. As we wrap up today, remember this. Health is the foundation of everything we do, and the immune system is the heart of that foundation. Transfer factor is not just another supplement. It's a breakthrough in immune system education. It helps your body recognize, respond to, and remember health threats. It balances your defenses so they're strong, but they're not overactive. And it's backed by science and discovery that few companies in this world can match. So my challenge to you today is just don't think about transfer factor as a product. Think of it as a daily investment in a smarter, stronger, more resilient you. Because when your immune system is at its best, you can be at your best. Thank you.
여러분, 긴 시간 수고해 주신 데이빗 볼머박사님께 다시 한번 감사의 박수를 부탁드립니다.